If you have any interest in seeing me react to or discuss any of the shows on screen right now, go to the community tab on my channel and cast your vote. We'll be starting one of these very soon, so you want to make sure you can get your vote in for that. What's up? I'm Grizz. Welcome Season 2, Episode 3 of Mushoku Tensei. We'll continue our self-improvement journey here for Rudy, for him to find his purpose, for him to find himself here, I guess, really. Hopefully we have a better performance than we did last week, because I had a lot of issues with the way that the show kind of paced itself and kind of visually presented itself, and abundance of other things, unfortunately. Mainly all boils down to a lack of conveyance kind of coming through with what I think the original author was intending versus what we got on screen, which is rather unfortunate. High hopes, though. I mean, it's done it before. I have hopes that we can kind of do that again with this series, and we'll bring it back here. Episode 1 was fantastic, in my opinion. So we just got to get back to that. One dud ain't gonna ruin the experience, right? But I guess we'll see what happens. I'm assuming Rudy's gonna stick around in town. He can dip, I believe, if he wants, but he kind of agreed that he'd help out in the future and stuff. So I'm assuming we'll stick around for a little bit longer. Sarah's on our side. She fucks with us now, so that's cool. So hopefully having somebody maybe that gets along pretty well with Rudy here allow him to kind of open up and experience some stuff. I don't really know, though. I feel like it'll hit the like and subscribe to mean a lot to me. Feel free to stick around for the discussion. Leave any comments about this episode or series. Let's go on, though. Episode 3. Good job, brother, man. Have you got your name in there finally? Let's go. That's a little close. Jesus. Took after your mother. Yeah, we see that gaze you have. She's gonna notice it too. Yeah. Come on, bro. Obviously. Come on, man. Jesus. You want to go with her? Look at that smile, dude. Everybody else notices too. She gets embarrassed. Right. This is really fun. Yeah. This is fun because now we're really going to see a lot into Rudy's mind. We know he's not healthy. We know he's not with the Eris thing. Can he get some other clothes too? Like, what's up with those? It's really cute. But it's exciting to see where he's willing to kind of push himself here in these situations. Are we looking for real connection? Or are we actually going to try and build something with Sarah here? Or are we going to think with our dick like he always does, right? Like, what exactly are we going to do here? Are we going to remember our real connections with people like Eris and people like Roxy and stuff and kind of stay strong for that? This is what I'm excited for. 2. Yeah, we'll just montage their date. Yeah. Come on, Sarah. Tempting him here. Yo. Now he's like, you mentioned one thing and he's really observant over everything. Trust, willingness to let your guard down. Yeah. Yeah. Or she's just fucking horny and making you, oh, the hover hand, not let's go. But is this the best way to do that? You gotta down it all first beforehand. I've been there too many times, bro. You have to wait for absolute certainty. There you go. That's your cue, bro. That's your cue. Or her place. Yeah, or yours. Yeah, sure, it works. Yeah, all too well, actually. Yeah, come on, buddy. It's all but clear now. Come on. Oh no, she's gonna find the holy relic, bro. It's over. Be fucking careful. You just drink a lot. Yeah, you know why we're here. Get the fuck over here. Alright, brother, be great. The excellence will show. Yeah, enough of the talk, you know. Sorry. I wouldn't have died if you didn't come looking for me, so is it like a hero thing? And then that's kind of weird, you know? Yeah? Yeah? Okay? Okay? What is it, bro? Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. No. Yeah, it's more you. Yeah. 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 Right. Right, right. Of course. Right, right, of course. Don't get it twisted. Come on, buddy. Yeah, Sarah, that's called something else, buddy. Also, I wonder if the framing on that one was specifically to cut him off, or if it actually was just like meant to be like a centered thing or not. Just slam him, bro. They're calling it. Don't fuck with him now, bro. He's not happy. Yeah, the worst thing ever. You know, yeah. No, he gets it for sure, dude. Why else do you think he's just sitting there letting him fucking cry? There you go. Give him give him somebody that he can speak to. Just say what's on your mind. There you go. What a lad. It's like a father-son bonding moment. We just bonded over you beating the shit out of me. Let's just do it. No, bro, no. How are we gonna do that? Right, okay, this is what I was thinking. I wasn't sure what he meant, but I was thinking this too. Go to a place dripping with fucking lust, bro. That's the only way. We're not solving a single problem by being here. He listened to his entire story, and all he took is, I can't get it up, bro. I got you. Like, what? This is the stupidest shit, dude. Does she know Paul, I wonder? Yeah. Yeah. That's what that reaction was. Oh. Sure, bro. I like how, like, the way he is so weird because he's inexperienced and also, like, in this specific spy is inexperienced here, right? But it's, like, so awkward that that's so good. It's the same thing about to happen. It didn't work. It didn't work. Ooh. We're having a tough one. Yeah, it's not you. It's not you. So we have to find Roxy and Sylphie. So we're left with one option. If he was still at Paul, this is 100% what this would have been. Like this dynamic, 100%. Right. Sure. He's not processing anything. Well, the show paced it really quick, but I don't think it actually was. Yes, 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 thank you. Yeah, that's basically, yeah. Right. Come on, dude. Are you even gonna remember those, dude? The day you won it. Yeah. While she's okay, alright. Settle down, settle down. Yeah, like you're not fucking 12, bro. Come on. Yeah. Please just hit him. You didn't what? Thank you. Thank you. Throw the dagger. Rude as you probably shouldn't have said all that. Yeah. Bro, sobered up real quick. Back to where we were before. No, turn it towards yourself, dude. Yep. Honestly, no. Honestly, no. Yep, back to fucking 0. What's that gonna do? Yeah. Oh? Is that what we're doing today? We're leaving? No, dude. No, no, no. But not necessarily you. But would going here make sense for us? Okay. I don't know how this solves finding the mom thing, but okay. No ED. Like proper ED. Still. Interesting. Oh!
確かそう、泥沼のルーデウス。泥沼のルーデウスという冒険者のお話ですわ。そう言われても、俺だってそんなに詳しいわけじゃ。ほら頑張って。もし思い出していただけたら、私は好きにしてもいいですわよ。
Come on, bro. Now you gotta remember. Yeah, of course. All right, let's go. You're on the hunt for him. So much better than last week. like unbelievably better. And I'm very, very happy about that. Well, the episode, I would assume like this isn't something that is meant to be taken funny. It is taken funny, and maybe it is. Maybe I'm off the mark with that. But it is. It's just funny for like 90% of like the shit that happens here. And I think it has more to do with like the lack of certainty or the lack of like understanding that each of the characters have about how to approach certain situations and how to truly like find root causes of like these problems and stuff, which is what makes it like pop that way to me. Like what makes it read off as funny is like the idea when Rudy's going through all this stuff, we have a serious moment where he starts beating the shit out of Soldat, but then they start talking a little bit, right? And then after they talk, he's like, oh, I got this for you. And instead of just like actually giving him like proper advice in that moment, they instead go somewhere and they're like, we're gonna fix your little problem. And that wasn't even like the root cause, like what we were trying to fix at the end of the day. Like that's not what we should have been focusing on, but ended up being that. So it allows a lot of these moments to be really, really like over the top and stupid the way they're done. But if you don't look at it like strictly from that standpoint and the way that I kind of just laughed off like as things were kind of happening, you start really seeing like a lot of layers and things that are excellently done here and presented here. And while this might not be a direct issue or thing that a lot of people can necessarily relate to, specifically the situation with Rudy and Sarah, right? You can also relate other issues such as his trauma from being basically heartbroken by another person, his discomfort being around people now as a result of that, his unwillingness to kind of feel at ease around people, not feeling as though he has somebody he can openly speak to, or not feeling as though he can trust in these situations or has that person that he can be comfortable with. And I think they do an excellent job of kind of conveying that. I think they do an excellent job at conveying the idea that this is a person who thought he had the shittiest type of life going on, like everything couldn't have gotten better, and he almost has given up completely. And at multiple times he's pulled himself out of this to basically be like, maybe there is something for me, right? Maybe there is this purpose for me to continue going and keep living, and I have things to kind of go for. I haven't lost everything yet. But what are we going to do? We are going to take this person who seems as though he's kind of found something and is trying to work towards something, and we're going to take even more from him. We're going to tear him down more and more to his absolute rawest form that we can try and get. Now, they definitely could have gone further and further, but as we see the willingness and the ease that Rudy basically had to take that knife and basically try and kill himself in that moment, the ease, I say, as in a lot of times you have a person when they get put in these situations who would hold it and he would think about it and he would look at it and they'd give the viewer especially a real clear minute to process, is this what I want to do? They'd give the actual person in this experience to kind of take that chance and think for themselves, is this truly the decision that I'm going to make? Am I going to take my life in this moment? And instead we see a instant pickup, an instant attempt to do it. And if so, that's not any quicker than he already is, Rudy can basically harm himself, right? And I find that to be incredibly fascinating, because this is a person who, in my mind, hasn't actually had like he's had a lot of really bad shit go on, right? But finding all these people, he could have been given worse news that these important people in his life have been killed and are no longer around, right? But instead, he's not given that news. He's literally has people walk out of his life and taken from him in these situations. And now he's kind of struggling with other things due to issues that I mentioned earlier. But this stuff here shows the breaking point of him. This shows the low that he has hit here and how this was his point of break. This was his point of acceptance almost, that things won't actually get better, the way that he's convinced himself over time. And they will. And he actually needs to venture out. And the first step to properly do that is probably to remove himself from these situations and these things that he is trying to, that are kind of weighing him back in a way, such as being, I guess, intimate with another person, or such as having that person that you are getting close to, specifically somebody who's female, I would assume here, because he has no issues, right, interacting or getting close to somebody like Soldat, who's going to be able to follow now and go further into his quest and his journey here. So he has no issues that. So somebody specifically like Sarah, who genuinely seems like a good person and has good interests and everything else, right? It's the wrong time. You just met at the wrong time in this situation. And if this is something that can happen years down the line when Rudy's been able to heal himself almost, things would probably be better. But for the fact that where it is now, we've met at the complete wrong time, which is why specifically when they bring up the idea of like finding somebody that he can trust or comfort and almost, and he can feel at ease and be neutral basically with and be himself in this situation. He doesn't have the fear that maybe they'll turn on him, such as Eris did. Maybe that's something in the back of his mind which is making him struggle so much with somebody like Sarah, right? He's so nervous of getting close and building these relations with somebody, and that could be somebody like Roxy, somebody like Sylphie. And I think we're pointing more towards Sylphie, specifically getting the episode 0, knowing where Sylphie is, understanding that based on that we're probably going to meet up with Sylphie here throughout the season at some point. And the idea that he literally ran through his head in this moment. We had an inner dialogue moment of him realizing, I thought of Roxy for a moment, but no, that wouldn't work. I shouldn't do that, right? I'm believing we're going to get back to this moment with Sylphie, and I think we're ultimately going to have mission success here, unlike we were with Sarah, but I think things are going to go proper at one point when we end up meeting up with Sylphie, because we'll find the comfort and the joy and the trust that we weren't able to feel like we found in others, and that we feel like we could confide in these other people and have. And I think that's a excellent way for us to kind of go skimming through the episode a little bit. We specifically start seeing how close Rudy and Sarah kind of get, and specifically Sarah being completely put off by when other people's names or other women and stuff are kind of being brought up. And then she poses the idea that they basically go on a date. Rudy's able to kind of key in on this, but he struggles big time to pick up on any sort of clues. And this is where I get interested too, the idea of like, was he struggling to really pick up on these things? Or is it one of those, like, you do realize, but you kind of suppress it because you're almost hoping that that's not the case. But then when he did notice, he's like, let me just make sure that things are okay, which is a fucking thing that happens. Well, let me tell you, I'm assuming everybody is well aware of this, but man, it is hard sometimes to pick up on anything, and you don't want to be too drastic or take like a shot on something that you're not too sure of, especially if you don't want things to go wrong. Sometimes you're okay if they don't go proper, and you're more than willing to put yourself out there and take those chances. But sometimes you like really want something and you cannot feel like you can fuck that up at all, and you have to take the more, or like the approach that he kind of did here, until you are sold on the idea and you are 1,000,000% certain. It is hard to convince yourself otherwise. Really just cute moment. I enjoyed it a lot with them kind of going out here. But this was interesting because it would bring up the idea of like where Rudy's kind of at. Is he somebody who still is just kind of thinking with his dick? Is he still somebody who just sees her more as like this object kind of in a way? Or is he in a position more where he can kind of grow to trust somebody and be comfortable or be with them and actually build this relation and everything with her, right? We find out that's not the case in the slightest, specifically because of where we are. Luckily, we found out that he's not being all like old pervy kind of like version of himself, right? Like he's being as respectful as he can in many of these moments until things were like certain. So excellent job from him on there, but most definitely could have been a worse situation. But also it allows us to have things become clear about kind of where he's kind of at. She continuously hints over and over and over and over, and he has to be completely sold on it, which I think is so funny. And then basically we get into the moment, and you know, we all know what happens from there. Rather unfortunate. This was what I was talking about too, like the framing they do on this. I wonder, like the black, if that's literally designed into this, or if this is like more censored. I believe it wouldn't be, because we do have multiple other frames that aren't like that. Sarah becomes all defensive, tsundere, you know, version of herself. Like, oh, I was obligated to kind of pay you back by doing this. Like, that's not how that works. That's something entirely else, Sarah. We don't do that. But I think it was more of her getting mad. Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think she got mad and like called him a jerk and stuff. I think she was more offended that it was like her, like maybe something regarding the way she looked or her body or something like that, that like wasn't attractive or wasn't as up to kind of Rudy's standards or expectations, or something that kind of tore her down and made her think that that's the reason why he couldn't get up. Like, is that exactly what happened? Or is it like, I don't know. Or was she literally just mad to like that she was vulnerable in that moment and that they couldn't do what she wanted to? Like, I don't know. Or did she like have a sobering moment there and realize like, oh, I'm being taken advantage of, which she literally wasn't, because she wanted it. So I don't exactly know. We get the sold out moment, which is really good. Specifically him beating on him, very reminiscent of the Rudy and Paul moment, when they kind of get back together and Rudy loses his shit and is actually able to explode and openly speak things from his mind instead of kind of faking the person that he is. While he was with Paul, he wasn't trying to be as I guess, open or like really think about a whole bunch of stuff and speak his mind properly, right? And even in these moments, he struggled with that entirely up till now. So this is the first time that we really got to see what's going on in his mind and him openly expressing himself there. This moment too, specifically, spill your guts. It might help you figure something out, is always the way to go. But the problem is, which I believe Rudy would already realize, he didn't feel like he had somebody that he could do that with, but also it's a pride thing. It is a struggle of having that confidence or that faith or that trust within somebody that you can openly do this. The idea that you might worry somebody else, the idea that you might burden somebody else with having to listen to and carry all of the stuff that you're saying. There's a lot that can kind of go into these moments, which is why it's hard to actually open up and ask for help, which is why so many people struggle to do that, struggle to find somebody that they can feel comfortable with, or find somebody that they can actually open themselves up to and not feel like they are causing harm in some sort of way to this other person, or burdening them, or just bothering and wasting their time in some sort of way. They basically figure out the exact reason why, or what was happening now, and then they trace it back to Eris, and then they're like, oh, I guess the shit is kind of bad, right? Now, what exactly happened in that moment that exactly was that caused her to kind of run away? Rudy takes it as, oh, he was just bad and she didn't want to be involved with him anymore. That's not the case in the slightest. But it's the lack of them understanding that kind of causes us to go to our next direction, where instead of solving that root cause, like that root problem, we instead go, all right, let's just solve the Sarah problem, because that'll be fixed easily here. And then we come here. An issue, right? We don't want to directly take that route, but it's two people who genuinely don't know how to kind of get over these moments or get into these situations. And Solette probably hasn't gone through all this stuff. And he has, we've seen before with him constantly being drunk and like have all this other stuff, probably suppresses it and uses these substances as a way to kind of like forget about them and kind of get over them and get past them and just take it a day at a time at that moment. So essentially we could be looking at two very broken people who truly don't understand or don't know the ways to like properly heal and properly like reflect on yourself and kind of improve and think on these things, which is why it makes such a bad pairing. But it makes such a like, this is a father-son moment. This is a Rudy Paul type thing. Like if they were together still, like everything all was well, they'd probably be doing similar shit to like this. Like people who genuinely don't seem like they know what they're doing. We meet her, who is, I don't remember what they said her name was. You know, this is, if Buddy was ever going to get going, it was going to be here. And it didn't happen, which just makes you understand some other shit's going on. But she immediately realizes he does have this fear. These women and things kind of cause this fear within him. And we relate that perfectly back to the idea that he's traumatized almost in this. He's struggling to get past, and he's struggling to find comfort and be okay getting close to somebody else, which forces us to kind of think about where we can head to next and how exactly we can kind of handle that. Rudy, who's now completely just fucked up in this moment, is saying a whole bunch of things that he probably shouldn't, right? Constantly just thinking about that. And thinking, you know, this is the end of the line for me. He's like, nah, fuck that bitch. Don't worry about her. I got other things I can do, right? Like the things you say, the confidence you gain in these moments are absurd, but it actually happens. And it's very understanding that he would act like this. Sarah specifically being behind us. We don't know exactly what she would be doing in this moment. If it was to come find Rudy, apologize, talk to him. She was literally out on a mission. Like what exactly the things that were happening here. She heard a lot of things that she shouldn't, specifically Rudy kind of putting her down and calling her childish in a way, and a whole bunch of things you wish he didn't say, right? And he wouldn't have said had he been in a proper state of mind, but instead he wasn't. She gets pissed and hits him, rightfully so. I'm very happy that she kind of does, and immediately throws the dagger, the gift that basically she was given to from him, away, severing the ties almost in that moment, which allows him to fully understand that. And he gives up at this moment and he goes to basically kill himself, which is the quickest way that we can transition this moment. Like I love, I said it earlier too, I love how quick this was, because it doesn't say to me he was uncertain. Like this says to me somebody who has hit the point he believes is the lowest possible that he can hit, and he was instantly, the moment he saw this, knew this is my, I'm done. This is like I am done, and he had nothing else on his mind but to do this. So for the fact that Buddy moved so quick here and was able to kind of protect us, I think was perfect. We end up moving along here though, and it turns out we're going to visit, he said a labyrinth, I believe, or we have somewhere that we're going up north or something. Basically we're gonna go on a journey here. We got our boys together. Exciting, but I don't, worrisome. I don't know, because is this what we need to do to find the mom? Am I putting too much? idea, like too much thought into the idea that that's what we need to do next? Is it better for him to go and do journeys and stuff like this to specifically like heal himself and get over it and kind of find himself more, and then worry about that? Or should he specifically just be kind of focused on that more so? This very well could also lead us perfectly into that, which I think would be plenty okay. But it's more of just like am I personally worrying about that too much? About the idea that like we can't just let her stay fucking gone forever, like not know exactly where she is and be trapped for her entire life here. Like we can't, we have to go look for her, right? So the fact that he's doing this, I understand, is like a self-improvement and a good thing. And I actually think it's a really smart thing to go. I was going to assume that he would say no. And I'm kind of happy he did say yes, but I just don't know if I'm putting too much weight on us finding Zenith, or if that's something I shouldn't be doing. I don't know. Let me know. Am I overthinking this a little too much? Because this is definitely a good thing for growth. He's getting himself out of this. He's removing himself from the situation with Sarah. He is probably going to find himself time where he can specifically meet back up with somebody like Sylphie and then regain his trust in people at that moment. And he's going to build a very strong chemistry and brotherly bond here almost with Soldat. So I don't know. After credit scene, Elena Lise is here. She is looking for Rudy specifically. Did they set out and decide that? I think they did, right? Her, the other guy, and Roxy all decided to split and look, right? Or did they continue going together? I don't remember that part specifically. If that's the case, she's onto something here and she's able to find us, which is fucking dope. And what does that tell us? Is she going to be able to find us? Is this before we end up leaving? Is this like, so I'm assuming she's going to find us and we're going to kind of venture out with Soldat, which is going to be weird because you know how that's going to turn out. So I don't know. We got the lust monster after the both of them at that point probably, so I don't know what the fuck's about to happen, but I guess I'm excited to see. So moving forward, we continuously have Rudy be broken, be not a healthy person, not in a good space, which is a good thing, I think, and I think that's okay. I think he's reached, I think this is the realization point. First episode, I thought we hit that, but I'm actually kind of happy that they were like, he found himself, he found what he should be doing, he's okay, like he's mentally, he's at this point. But then we show he's actually not, and we continue that onwardly here, these next few episodes, which is going to kind of, now he hit the point where I think he understands and he needs to push forward, and now it's really about the rebuild, where he thought that was going to be the case beforehand. Now we're really going to get into the rebuild, but it's going to be when we venture away from all these people and he kind of isolates himself even more. But he actually found somebody who can share a true chemistry and connection with, and this will be a good moment, I think, for that. So I think we're headed in a very, very positive direction. Where exactly we're going to go and how things are going to turn out, I don't know, but I'm excited. That's going to be all from me, though. Let me know what you thought. Leave any comments about that. Any guesses, I guess, where we're going to kind of head next and how you took certain situations like this. If you just liked the episode overall, I was very happy with it, especially in comparison to the previous one. Participate in that poll I talked about beforehand if you want to have a say in the other show that I'm going to watch very soon. Leave a like and subscribe. They really do mean a lot to me. Feel free to check me out on Twitter and my anime list. Both links are in the description, as well to check out the other videos on the channel. I will be back for the 4th episode next week, though. You guys have a good one. See ya.